the show, so get rockin' up.
So let me break it all down for you.
I ain't never giving up, I ain't never
You know
giving
I'm taking that crown from you.
I ain't worried about you.
What's going on, you guys? It's the FPL Penguin back again with another video for you all. Hope you're all doing well. In today's video, we're going to be talking about player comparisons. So I'm going to give you 1 or 2, 3 or 4, 5, 6, quite a few handful of players, but comparison wise, with the help of Fantasy Football Hub. Not sponsored. I'm not sponsored, but I bought this subscription membership the other day. It's very, very good. Really do like it. So if any of the lads from FFO come across this video, it's good so far, really enjoying it. So we're going to talk about comparison wise, give you a few players you'll see on the screen with the help of FF Hub's little charts and graphs through their membership. So if you do enjoy the video, guys, hit that like button and do consider subscribing. Really appreciate it. And join the Discord, my public Discord in the link below. Really appreciate it. So we're going to start off with DCL and Antonio Goal, as I like to call him. So if you look at DCL and Antonio, we're going to just talk about the ownership and the fixtures wise before we talk about what's on the screen right now with the whole chart. But with DCL, you know, he's owned by 27% of managers so far. I think it's about 1.8 million as I'm making this this video right now. 12.6% own Antonio, and if we look at the fixtures as well, just bring up the fixtures. Then we've got Southampton, Leeds, Brighton, Burnley, Villa, Norwich. Looks juicy, doesn't it? Looks really, really good, doesn't it, to go for. Now looking at West Ham, got a bit more of a tougher one. They've got Newcastle, Leicester, Palace, Southampton, United, Leeds United, another United, and Brentford. So it's a bit of a 50-50 one for West Ham. As we do know, West Ham's last 3 meetings with Newcastle, they've lost the last 3 meetings versus Newcastle. Now Everton, on the other hand, you know, they got Rafa Benitez in charge. Will he win over the fans? There's so many questions for that Everton side. How are they going to perform under Rafa? Is he going to put a new system in there, new tactics, new formation? You know, new faces coming in. Richarlison possibly not making game week 1 due to being with Brazil in the Olympics. So there's so many questions to see how they will do Everton under Rafa Benitez, a former manager of LFC. So let's get straight into the chart, shall we? Get straight into the comparison tool, thanks to the FF Hub lads. So I'm still trying to get my head around how all this works. Bit of a noob with it all, so we're going to get straight into it. So as you can see, the blue side is DCL and the red side is Antonio. You can just see with DCL, he's just edging it with a lot of them. Like, he's edging it with expected points, expected goals, big chances. Looks pretty much similar with Antonio on shots in the box too. So nothing much to really give to DCL on that side. Shots on target though, DCL does edge Antonio by quite a bit, but shots in general, Antonio just edges DCL. Now this is an interesting one too. Touches in the box, that's always important. Touches in the box, especially for a striker, a poacher like these two. Antonio just edges it by a bit, just a tiny bit over DCL. So overall, by looking at these stats, it's a tough one to go for, but if you look at Antonio, he's 0.5 million cheaper than DCL. There's, like I said, there's a lot of questions to see how this Everton side will do under Rafa Benitez. Antonio, you know, West Ham, you know, against Newcastle last 3 meetings have struggled to beat them. You know, they've not even picked up a win, not a point against them the last 3 meetings. But a bit of a stat attack as well. Newcastle in pre-season haven't looked as sharp, haven't looked as good. Conceding the goals, they put a first team out in pre-season. Antonio scored a brace versus Celtic, shows he's still got it. So when you look at it here as well, West Ham and Newcastle could be both going into game week 1 with no Willock and no Lingard. You know, 2 players that really got those attacks going. Now, personally, I think Newcastle are going to struggle more without Willock than West Ham are going to struggle more without Lingard. I think Willock really made an attack, you know, helped Callum Wilson out a lot more. I think Antonio's just fine without Lingard, in my opinion. But both are missing two key like cam players. They really are. But honestly, I really do think these two players, if I would honestly say look at Antonio for DCL for now. I know it's tough, I know the fixtures are lovely, but if you want to go for that, hey, but look at the stats right here. It's very tight. It is very, very tight, guys. So do have a good think about it, who you want, if you want to save that 0.5 million, if you still want to, you know, like myself, believe in Antonio. But do have a good think about it, guys. Now, the next one is Luca Dean versus Target. Looking at the chart, there isn't that much competition, but I'm just going to give you a few reasons why going down to Target isn't a bad idea. You know, saving money. Let's start off with 0.5 like the DCL Antonio chat we just had about a minute or two ago. And also, if you look at the fixtures with Luca Dean, like I mentioned, with DCL, Southampton, Leeds, Brighton, Burnley and Villa, look tasty. We know how good Luca Dean is, but we've yet to see how they'll do in this new Rafa system that Benitez is going to bring to the club. Target, I think, is a lovely, lovely differential. You know, we're seeing Luca Dean just like where DCL is in the late 20s in ownership. Target, to me, is going under the radar. To me, is going under the radar. He's got 3 lovely fixtures. Target. He's got Watford, Newcastle and Brentford, newly promoted Brentford. Then he has got Chelsea and Everton later on. But I do feel for the first 3, we know how good he is, and he really gets attacks going, he bombs up the field, and I know there isn't that much comparison on the chart, you know, competition-wise. But I just say, you know, final third passes, Target just edges it. Through balls, it's pretty much the same. Crosses wise, Luca Dean just edges it, so that's probably what will make you lean more towards Luca Dean. But if you wanted to save money and just go for that differential if you're not so sure, because if you do remember, you know, is Pickford going to bring that form, that England form, back to Goodison? And also with Luca Dean as well, with Everton, should we talk about, you know, Southampton, Leeds. I'm pretty sure they were the 2 teams that they did struggle to beat last season. I think definitely Leeds. I think Leeds did beat them at Goodison Park. I'm not too sure. So Everton are one of these teams at home. They lost to a lot of teams. I think even Sheffield United beat Everton at Goodison Park last season. I mean, Everton are unpredictable. They really are. Now, with Villa, you've got Martinez, that, you know, fantastic season Martinez had last season in goal for Villa. And, you know, you've got him between the sticks for Villa, just behind Target and that rest of the defensive line. So I would probably, I know I'm biased being a Liverpool fan once again, but I probably, you know, lean more towards Target than Luca Dean, even though the chart shows different. I just think going for that differential, you know, maybe a bit of an eye test is needed, but, you know, maybe looking at them in friendlies is a good idea. Not a bad way to go about it, but I personally would probably go for Target. He's a cheaper alternative, could be a nice differential, and could in the first 3 games pick up more points than Luca Dean. I think he could, in prediction wise, could pick up more points than Luca Dean in the first 3 games. Moving on to Leeds United, what a season they had last season. Jack Harrison versus Stuart Dallas. I could have done Harrison versus Rafinha, but Rafinha was edging that by quite a lot between him and Harrison. So we're going to do Harrison versus Dallas instead. You know, another one that's like only a 0.5 million difference in price. But I'm going to give you my thoughts on this, guys. Looking forward to doing this one. We know Dallas, he was playing out of position like Alonso did the season before that. Dallas, once again, I still think is a great pick. To go for relatively cheap still. And, you know, FPL missed out on a trick there when they put him as a left back or as a defender in the game. Can play left back, that's his natural position. But when he plays as a centre mid, he's a completely different player. This is Stuart Dallas. I really, really do like Stuart Dallas. And Jack Harrison, there's nothing wrong with going with Jack Harrison. A lot of people probably opting for him over Rafinha, which is kind of bold because Rafinha is just a fantastic player. Harrison's a fantastic player, but Rafinha, I mean, I'd be scared not to own him. I mean, for 6.5 million, I think is an absolute bargain. But with Dallas, if you look at the chart right now, blue versus red, Harrison versus Dallas. Harrison just edging it, obviously, being a winger, but I don't feel... I know Dallas was shifting between left back and centre mid throughout last season, but I think he's still a lovely player to go for. And we know that Leeds United signed Firpo, so fingers crossed, you know, Dallas doesn't go back there. Hopefully he continues to start, and hopefully in the first couple of game weeks he'll keep starting at centre mid role, because by sounds of it they haven't signed another centre mid yet. They've still got Rodrigo. I think Hernandez is still there, but he's getting on a bit. But Dallas to me is still a key player to that team, and I can't see him becoming like a Lundstrom where, you know, he got a second season syndrome and got benched a lot. This is Lundstrom. I think Dallas will keep continuing to start for Leeds United, and I still think if you want an alternative, a differential, to me Harrison's a differential still, but if you want to go for that, you know, definite differential, just go for the fun of it. Dallas is so fun to have in your team. He just bombs up the field. He's just that free roam centre mid, you know, playmaker. He really is. So if you want to go for him, like I said, stats wise, just like the Luca Dean one on the chart, not much competition wise, but I still think Dallas, in my opinion, how good of a player he was last season, still a really good Leeds option to go for. So if you want to go for him, go for him. And also just to add as well, before we go into the next comparison of the players, if you look as well, shots as well, pretty much is the same with Dallas and Harrison, and shots on target, Harrison just edges it, but pretty much the same. Shots on target, it shows how good Dallas is. When he starts in the centre mid role, he can compete with the other attackers, he can compete with Bamford, you know, it's up to you guys, it really is. Final third passes as well, it just shows how far up the field this guy goes. He gets into the attacking third, so have a good think about it, guys. Right, so last one on the list is Callum Wilson and Nacho. We're going to call him Nacho before I have a bit of a tongue twister. And so this is Wilson versus Nacho. You can see, look at that. Nacho just absolutely wiping the floor with Wilson in this. There's such a good player, such a good player. Nacho, they're both good players. I know I've slated Callum Wilson. Like I said, without Willock, how are they going to do? Pre-season, attacking wise, they've still got the goals, but you know, it's Rotherham, it's York City, it's Doncaster. How are they going to do against West Ham? Are they going to beat them with a fourth time in a row? They're going to beat fourth time in a row. To me, I just feel someone like Nacho is still being overlooked. I know Daka has signed for the Foxes, but a lot of people saying he's a slow replacement, as it builds for Vardy, because Vardy's getting on a bit now. Vardy's been a fantastic player, he's a legend at the club, so people looking at Daka being that replacement for Vardy. But Nacho to me still got his still nailed on his place. He's still going to start, in my opinion, and I still think he's a lovely player. He really is. Fixtures wise, West Ham, Villa, Southampton, United, Leeds. This is Callum Wilson. If we look at Nacho, he's got Wolves, West Ham and Norwich. I love the first three. I especially like game week 3 because I think that's away from home against Norwich. This is Nacho, and it just reminds me, I think when Norwich were last in the Premier League and Antonio got 4 goals against Norwich, that reminds me. That's why I really want him, because it makes me feel like Nacho's going to get at least a hat-trick versus Norwich. That's what I think. And I think that's a lovely fixture. I still think West Ham still have their problems in that defence of theirs. I think Wolves, how they're going to do against, without Nuno in their team. So that's going to be interesting too. There's so many questions. But if we look at the chart, expected points, expected assists, expected goals, big chances, shots in the box, shots on target, especially shots on target. Nacho's just wiped the floor with Wilson there. It's just the gap there. Shots in general, even bigger the gap. Touches in the box, just a tiny bit, just beats Callum Wilson. So I think if you wanted to go for it, go for Nacho. Both the same price, 7.5 million. So there's no like price difference between these two for the first time in this video. So do have a good think about it. But I personally would probably go for Nacho. I think he's such a good player, and I think he's probably being overlooked a lot. But we yet to see how Leicester do. You know, friendlies, I don't think they've done that well. I think they drew one of the games. I think it was 0-0, but I think they changed the team like in the 60th minute, something like that. But do have a good think about it, guys. Yeah, so that's the video, guys. Bit of a comparison video. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, hit the like button, and please do consider subscribing. Like I said, my Discord and all the voting links, if you want to vote for me, guys, in the Football Content Awards. You're probably sick of me saying that, but if you want to vote for me, guys, in the Football Content Awards as well, links down below in the description. Really appreciate it, would mean the world. And join the Discord as well, some great folk in there so far. And but yeah, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Do share the video as well. Check out my last video too, and I shall see you guys in the next video. See you later.
Stop the show, so get rocking up.
So let me break it all down for you.
I ain't never giving up, I ain't never
You know
giving
I'm